Having advanced ankylosing spondylitis can be very, very challenging, especially if you're around my age, where in the times when I was diagnosed, I didn't have the medication that is available today. So doing day-to-day tasks can be very, very difficult because you're restricted in your neck and your spine. So in other words, you really can't bend or turn at all. This is my excuse for recycling rubbish space. I have secreted it away in a space between the pantry and my benchtop drawers. I usually accumulate a fair bit of paper and cardboard over a couple of weeks. Getting down on my hands and knees at its own level to remove each item and then place them in a bag is the only way that works. I cannot look in directly and reach, so I have to feel around due to restrictions in my neck. Another thrilling episode of Recycling Adventures. With a spine as flexible as a steel rod, I embark on an epic quest through the labyrinth. Behold the desolate corridors where tumbleweeds seem to blow through and the echoes of forgotten neighbours linger. Nothing says luxury living quite like the eerie silence of these hallowed halls. Through the car park and onwards to the waste room. Here lie the majestic tow-away bins like slumbering giants waiting for the next meal of plastic and paper. Observe the way I lifted the lid on the bin. I had the dexterity of a ballerina. So those of you who aren't familiar with ankylosing spondylitis, it's a form of arthritis that affects your spine, and if it's untreated, it can completely calcify your whole spinal column and also affect some of your major joints like your elbows and your hips as well. It can make simple tasks around the house quite challenging, but I've adapted over the years and I've found things that just work for me, and this is what I would advise you if you have this condition. Just find things that work for you, and through practice you can get around them, even though it can be difficult. So some of the things that I'm doing today in this video I would not recommend if your balance is not very good, or if you are, finding that it may be dangerous for you to do such a task. But I live by myself and I live independently. My apartment is not that big, and so it can be handled in a way, but then there are things that I just have to really think about before I do them. Because I'm unable to look up, I have to rely on a stepladder, especially if I'm to reach any objects in the top of my cupboard. I always take great care, stabilising myself with both hands, keeping a close eye on my footing. When I'm at the top, I make sure I am in the forward position holding the ledge for stability. When descending, I take the same care I took going up. So I have to be really cautious, and that means my footing, for example. I did remember once I was rushing for a train and I slipped and I fell and I really whacked my head, and it could have been very, very bad indeed. This particular day, I have some of my older portraits to attach to the wall by picture hooks. I had already given much thought beforehand on how this was going to be done. So when I'm about to undertake a task where I know that my movement is going to restrict me from doing that, I check everything first just to see whether it is safe to do so. This bedside drawer doesn't look heavy, but it is. I gauged the weight and dragged it out the way, not rushing. Having to think about before I do this task in advance also saves me a lot of problems later down the track, especially accidents. So here we go with the stepladder again. I have the picture hooks ready so I don't have to reach out as I have already marked the position. People who have restricted movement may foresee a task that seems overwhelming, impossible, dangerous even. It takes careful judgment of what your capabilities are and your limitations. But if you deem the task safe, then try. The sense of accomplishment in the long run is very rewarding and confidence building. So taking my time and not rushing is key, and it will save you a lot of pain in the future. Also look for other ways to do things, like if you have to, say, vacuum and you have a vacuum cleaner with a cord, which not many people do these days, I would highly recommend a cordless vacuum. And if you have a small place, you can buy quite cheap ones. So just remember, be careful in what you do, be flexible with your ideas, think about things in advance before you do them, take care, always check your footing, and always ask for assistance if you need it. And if you live alone, don't try anything without checking with a friend or a relative or somebody else first who may be able to come and assist you. I'd love to hear your comments below on how you cope, and please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.